All right, we're live, guys. Should be live. Let me know out there if you are in the e-commerce-aholic world and you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me. So we should be live. Are you seeing me now? Go ahead, Kaylin. You should be live.
Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. We're live. Check this out.
You can't see anything?
Check this out. Me and Phil are hijacking.
Oh yeah, you're good. Can you hear?
Stream.
Yeah.
Shout out.
It's going to be a little behind. It's a little behind.
Yeah,
I love it. This is great.
So
everything I've ever wanted is just to take over all of TJ's subscribership.
Hey, take them. You can have them.
Don't let TJ in the frame.
Just keep me out.
Let TJ in the frame.
Right. I take up a lot of frame.
It's becoming an annual thing for us to do the little drive-by.
It is.
Remember last year I had my fade. I had my razor fade.
You don't have much of a fade.
You know, I couldn't get a barber appointment before.
Well,
a big mess.
if you paid more for a haircut, you could find somebody to make. You
couldn't
make room.
possibly pay more for a haircut. They start to put that on a 30-year fix.
I'm from Alabama. If it's more than $20 for a haircut, we just let it go long.
I believe it.
Yeah.
No, I believe that.
Supercuts. I love Supercut. I love you, Supercuts. I just go where the interns cut my hair, but I mean, mine's not as sophisticated as that.
It's sophisticated. There's a lot of sophistication in the cut. People ask me all the time, how do you get your hair to do that? I say it's all in the cut.
Yeah. Cut and years of training.
In the cut.
Yeah.
And by the way, if you're out there in internet land and Meg Ryan was in a film called In the Cut, not appropriate, not safe for work.
Yeah, don't watch that. But
now everybody's Googling it.
One thing you can watch on the Something Digital Twitter account is that there's a new development. People are dressing up for Halloween.
I saw that.
As Philip Jackson.
More and more people are dressing up for Halloween as Philip Jackson. This is what I hear.
Which one of those people in the photo was you?
None of them. They were all the whole
you.
creative team at Something Digital dressed up as me for Halloween, which is super weird.
Actually, I haven't told you this yet, but at Titans I was hanging out with Meg and Cy, and they go, "Hey, you're not fooling anybody with the beard and the hair, trying to look like Phil." And I was like, "Dude, first of all, it's a good look.
It's a good look.
Second of all, I'm not copying anything.
Low maintenance. My kids have this running joke. The sticker from Atwix with our caricatures on it.
Yeah.
The first time they ever saw that, they saw and they're like, "That's you, Daddy." I said, "Yeah." And then they point at the other guy and they're like, "Who's that?" I said, everyone's asking the same question. They don't know who it is. And now you've changed your whole look.
Now my look
Definitely
is different.
don't know who it is.
I got a blazer.
He's got a blazer. He's got a
very
sailfish
businessy.
Brooks Brothers shirt. I don't even know who you are.
By the way, no big deal, but check out who's on the band, commercehero.io. Finding a Magento developer just got a whole lot easier. So, have you talked? What's going on? Who's talked? Have there been any talks?
I haven't talked yet. Tomorrow I have 3 talks. I'll be interviewing Matt Acey at the closing keynote. I'll be also interviewing Louisa Chen, who's the CFO for Soul Society. So I had to work in a little shoe thing there, so that'll be a lot of fun.
By the way, can we pan? We're not going to be able to pan, but the shoes.
No, we are not going to be able to pan on the shoes. No.
We don't have a Gary here. Number one, we don't have a Gary here to make fun of, to give a hard time, or to do any kind of panning.
I can't zoom with
but
this lens.
We really need to pan down to the shoes. By the way, new Skechers right here on my side, brand new Skechers.
I believe it's pronounced Skechers.
These are Skechers, but you've got some serious. Dude, you're so fashionable, man.
This is we're packing heat down here.
You're packing heat.
The Nike acronym Air Presto. Yeah,
Every time I try to step my game up, you're just a tiny bit beyond me.
You are 18 months behind on most things. A year and a half from now, you'll
get Savino in here. Little Savino.
No.
So we have Jason Cochran on Twitter here giving us a hard time, but he says this is the bearded triple threat.
Yeah.
So apparently to create content in the Magento community, you have to have a beard.
Correct.
Like there's no other choice.
Hey.
We have a quick
one, two.
surprise intro here for Ignacio. Philip, are you leaving on me like that? You're just going to dip out just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, Philip Jackson. Ignacio Riesco. Estamos aquí en Nueva York
Estamos aquí en Nueva York.
Con mi hombre main, my main man.
Want me to talk in English or in Spanish?
Let's go back and forth a little bit.
Let's half the sentence in one, half the sentence in the other.
Are we in the right position?
Every other word. We're in a good enough position. If the positioning is not appropriate and you guys are not liking our framing, then go watch Oprah.
Little known fact, Nacho is the, do you go by Ignacio or Nacho?
Nacho is better, I guess.
The original organizer of Meet Magento New York.
Yeah. Remember the first time the first edition of Mace Talk?
Yes.
Which is the name of the
Voltron.
Voltron.
Yes.
Who was this guy?
This is you, Interactive 4. You guys were bringing together some amazing talent. You'd hired Ivan. No.
Ivan.
Ivan.
Ivan Chupurny
Yes.
was at that time. Yeah.
Very impressive hire.
Yes.
But you were the original organizer of Meet Magento New York.
Yes, I was. I think that was one of the biggest challenges that we did is bringing to U.S. soil the Meet Magento events for the first time. Yes.
Yeah, and it's still the only Meet Magento in the U.S. is this one.
Yeah. I think that there were so many options in the past, but at the end we other agencies that tried to get the event to New York, but they didn't success. So I don't know. Maybe next year it's gonna be more. Yeah. Hopefully. I mean, the more we have, it's I don't know. It will be better, to Magento as well.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. I think so.
The more the better. I'm muted. The more the merrier, right?
Yeah.
That's how it's supposed to be. We should just spend our entire lives on the road going to Magento events.
Oh my God! Tell me about it. I think I did something like 6-7 events this year, all across Europe and now in the United States.
That's a lot of events.
Yeah, I think I'm done for this year.
Yeah.
No. I'm going to Mage Titans next week.
Manchester.
Yes. I'm a speaker there as well.
A
So.
lot of events. They're taking pictures of us over here.
We cheese.
Taking pictures.
Come on, do it.
We got you. We got it.
Always posing.
Very good. Now, are you speaking here?
Yeah, I'm speaking tomorrow at 11:30, I guess. And I'm gonna talk about one migration that we did from Magento 1 to Magento 2. It was a pretty big one. I invite you.
Tell us all. We have all the time in the world.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Okay,
we got to fill some space here. Go ahead.
All right. So I'm gonna talk about how we introduce the client, how we explain the client that they need to work with people that at the end know the tool at all, because they were struggling a lot with another agency that they were not focused on Magento. So
Jamerson.
I don't know. No, they were there. Yeah, no. So
Commerce Hero freelancers.
So we established that we took control of the project at the beginning in Magento 1. So they got something like 70% of the sales in Black Friday. So they have a very big peak, and that we helped them in order to cross this date, this milestone last year. And they agreed with us to go to Magento 2, and we are expecting this year to doubling the sales on next Black Friday. So it's a very big.
Coming up soon.
How many?
Coming up soon, Black Friday. This month.
Yes, I think it's in 2 weeks, right?
No, 4 weeks.
Yeah. 3 weeks.
I don't know what day it is, what month it is, what year it is, much less when Black Friday
people
is.
They don't know about
Yeah.
when
This
the
time
Black
of year is
Friday.
a blur. Black Friday will be here. I think it's tomorrow.
I think it's just after Meet Magento New York. So Meet Magento New York was blocking our heads, about that.
I mean, right after Thanksgiving, so we're at 3.5 weeks or so, something like that.
Yeah.
So what was the biggest challenge to convince them to migrate to Magento 2, or why did they want to migrate?
I think that at the end, for us, in terms of investment, doing again a new Magento 1 project at that time was a waste of time and money.
Yeah.
So we decided to do it in Magento 2 because we are not focused anymore on doing anything else in Magento 1. And
So they had new functionality they want to build, so they had to go M2.
Yeah, that's right. Because it makes no sense to invest more in Magento 1.
So you didn't have to convince them or anything. They already knew.
I think it was a wise decision, to go to Magento 2 in this case. Yes, and also, that we did a lot of customizations for the client in Magento, in the new Magento 2 project, but was all of them, done in a way that we understood first in Magento 1 what was the requirements from the client, taking care of the project at the beginning, and then we understood exactly what they needed in order to drive their business in a success way. Okay.
And last question, because I know we're asking you a lot of questions.
It's okay. I have all the time.
Deep
here.
dive.
Yeah, let's burn some time.
Last question. Second to last question.
Okay.
What have you learned about migrating M1 and M2 with a lot of customizations? M1. What did you learn about migrating all that to M2? Tips and tricks.
I learned that there is no estimate. There's no accurate estimate if you talk about the checkout. So you can make estimations about everything, but not the checkout.
Okay.
And if you need to change things in the checkout, you need to be aware about all the testing things that you need to apply, and all the complex architecture that now we are experiencing with the new Magento checkouts, with
Anything that touches checkout, anything that integrates with checkout, you're gonna have to.
Yeah, I think that doing some little customization in the checkout takes a lot of time in order to test it in the right way.
Using the core checkout, core.
Yeah, core checkout.
Core checkout. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
What else?
What else?
I think that you need to deal with your shit. So it's very complex to tell the
Show
client.
title.
Okay, short title. Okay, so I mean, if you find something that is not well done, so you need to fix it, and then push into Magento. Okay, because we were solving Magento problems for projects instead of for Magento. So when the new release is coming, you have everything fucked up. So we prefer to do or fix Magento for Magento instead of for the client. So this way we can, all of us, we can get the benefit of it. And also, if there is new extension that you need to install, will be compatible with the things that you are doing. Yeah. So we did this way, and that's why we were the last top contributors, because we decided to do again for the second time a project for Magento 2 at the beginning. So instead of solving Magento things for the project and the client, we did it for Magento.
Yeah, you guys, I talked to Oscar all about it.
Yes.
We did an interview with Oscar on the Commerce Hero YouTube channel. Click over there right now.
Let me hit that mute button.
And we talked about your contribution workflow, how you contribute back to the core, sync that up with your versioning for your project, some of the tools that you guys use, because that was really impressive. Top contributor.
Yeah. I mean, it's not my idea. It was an idea that we agreed in the team, and then came from them. So instead of doing things for just the project, why don't we do things for Magento? Because we also need to face, in the way that putting all those fixes in other projects as well. So why don't we open it and push it directly to the engineering team, and they were open to do it. So that's why we were working together very tightly.
It's a beautiful story.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. We love each other.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, guys.
All right. Very good.
It's always good to see you. Yeah, it's been the Netherlands was the last time I saw you. Yes, that was a good time.
Nice event.
I mean, New York's good, but if you get a chance to go to the Netherlands, take that, right?
Yeah, it's
take
a
that.
really good.
Absolutely.
It's a really good event.
Yeah.
Spain is even better.
Yeah, I had to
Oh,
pick
yeah.
one. Like I had to pick one, and I got on stage at the Netherlands.
Hey, Madrid, 2015.
They're still talking about it
2015.
years later.
History there.
It was fun.
How many people were there from Magento community? You were with the. You had a house there.
House. We
Magento
had
community house.
10 people in the house.
Yes.
It was fun.
It's like the real world. We should have been filming
The
then,
real
right?
world Barcelona edition. Madrid edition. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. This guy knows how to put on a conference. That's the truth. And you did a pre-party for Magento Live Barcelona.
That was one of the most. I have to say, I don't know. I was so nervous because we have a venue outside, a terrace, very beautiful place, rented in order to make it happen, and began to rain.
It was a waterfall.
Yeah.
I heard it was a waterfall.
Yeah, waterfall. Crazy. So we need to change in 2 hours the venue. And I was asking to the guys of the hotel about what to do, and they offered me the whole of the lobby. And the lobby of that hotel is something that it's amazing place. Yeah. So they allow me to do it in the lobby. In the lobby without ceilings, like, I don't know, it's a 10, I don't know, 50.
20 foot, 30 foot.
I don't know, it's something like
Huge.
that. Yeah, huge, man. So I was very luxury thing, and also, community stuff in there.
Got upgraded.
Yeah, we got an upgrade because of the rain. So I think that we were the only ones that we got an upgrade because of the rain.
They were gonna have it in a closet, and instead they got upgraded. So that's how you do it.
Yeah.
I think he's the one that poked the hole in the roof.
Yes. So it was a good time, and also contribution day was also organized by us. And we got something like 110 people there. So we were expecting something like 80. So it was the top #1 contribution event for this year for Magento. So
knows how to throw an event.
Yeah,
knows how to throw an event.
It was so nice, and I want to thank everybody that was there. Because we didn't expect that much people, but it was a good event, and David managed it. The show. It's an amazing guy. So.
And the moral of that story is register early so they know you're coming.
Yes, that's correct.
Nobody registers early, right?
I think that we put the registration till 80 people. So because we couldn't fit more people in the event, so we sold out something like 3 days, so it was okay. But at the end, sold up something like 110. So let everybody in, So it was an open door. So yeah, it was really good. People had fun, and were a lot of contributions. So and also engineering team was happy about everything that happened there. So yeah, I'm very happy about that.
Very good.
Yes. Let's see what next year now. When and where is going to be the Magento Live? We don't know yet.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to try. I can't promise anything at this point, but I'm going to try to make it to that one.
Yes, because Magento
Austin
is I don't think so.
Austin.
Magento Live.
You have to
Austin?
come visit in Austin.
But this is another thing. I will go to visit you, man. Okay. So what? Yeah. What about imagining another thing in another place than Vegas? What do you think about that?
Austin.
Magento Imagine in Austin? Yes. In your backyard?
Yes.
He's backed up to a ranch, so we might have a little space there. Might be able to do it in his backyard.
Yeah, well, something digital will be happy. Imagine is in Miami. Why not?
Miami.
Yeah.
Caliente.
A lot to happen.
So is that let's speculate, right?
Okay,
this is the last from what I've heard. This is the last year that they have reserved at the Win. This is the last year of their contract at the Win. So now with Adobe coming in, will we have an Imagine next year? And if we do have an Imagine, if it's not lumped in with some Adobe conference, which I don't believe it will, but it's saying we have an Imagine, where is it? Is it still in Vegas? Is it a different hotel, or is it a different town?
I think it's a new name. New name for the conference, #1.
For everything.
Not everything.
I guess.
Not everything.
Yeah.
Magento brand, 5 years. I predict 5 years. 5 years.
It's on the tape.
It's on the tape. 5 years.
It's digital, but yes, it's
We're gonna get
recorded.
Lewis in here soon too. Pinpoint. Here we go. Next year they're gonna change. No, 2019 is in Vegas.
Yeah, that one's the last one. That's when I say this year, this coming up year.
2020, they're gonna change the name. Adobe something, I think.
Okay.
Adobe Commerce.
Maybe New City. I don't know.
Conference.
I
Start
don't know
by
where it's gonna
changing the
be.
name of the conference and then work your way down, you think?
I think so.
In San Fran?
I don't know.
San Fran? What do you think? I prefer in Miami, but it's not a question about I prefer. It's a question about what they do.
What are the benefits of Miami?
It's a different city, different thing to see, different experience, different Las Vegas all the time. It's just a little bit boring, right?
But doesn't Adobe have their conference they have their conference in Vegas as well?
Yeah, but the Vegas and Vegas and Vegas again. Vegas.
Vegas and Vegas and Vegas.
Vegas.
Yeah.
Vegas.
Well, it's anything new.
I'm tired
of Vegas.
I'm
yeah.
tired.
It's anything new we'll do in Vegas next year?
No. So we change it.
Yeah,
So
where?
let's change it.
But the prices are going to be even more expensive if we change it.
I don't think so. Why? Because Vegas is cheap for organizing things, right?
Very cheap.
Yeah.
Very cheap.
I don't have the same opinion. We were organizing the pre-Imagine a couple of years, and it's not an easy thing in terms of money as well.
It's not cheap.
No, it's not.
I think Miami would be fun. I think Miami. I vote for Miami.
2 votes for Miami. What about you?
Jacksonville.
He keeps zinging me about Jacksonville, doesn't he? I don't know. I'm not. I don't know about Miami.
Why don't we go to Disneyland and
That's right. Let's
and-
do it in
and-
Orlando.
in Orlando.
Yes.
Yeah.
My wife would love it if it were in
Everybody
Orlando.
will. Everybody
That
will
way,
love
everybody bring the kids. They can go do Disney things while we're doing work.
A lot of crazy people in Florida. Lot of.
You do
lot
realize
of crazy-
Miami is in Florida, right? Like you were okay with that,
Oh, that doesn't count.
but
It's Miami. That doesn't count.
Miami's more.
Miami's.
Like a part of Florida.
Yeah. I want to dance salsa in Miami.
let me see that again. Clear the dance floor. Let me see that again.
We're gonna get Gentian in here soon too.
Genty.
We're gonna bring him in.
Genty's encroaching on my turf here. Moving to Atlanta. Good. How about yourself?
Gentian,
Slide over that way a little
slide
bit.
in,
Let's
slide in.
back just a step here.
Slide
see
in.
if we can't. see if
TJ,
we
mic,
can't squeeze in the
mic him
frame.
up, and let's
Yeah.
get an introduction.
Here, I tell you what. You just take it. Y'all have a good time. I'm gonna go get a drink.
All right.
All right.
Okay, I'll let you guys do it. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
You're part of the show. You're in the shape.
Okay.
Yeah, we will.
Un beso.
All right. All right. Hasta
Okay.
luego.
Hasta luego.
Hasta luego. Okay, new
Hey, Kevin.
guest on the show,
Yep.
Gentian with Shero Commerce,
Yep.
previously known as Shero Design.
Yep.
How's everything going?
Pretty good. Glad to be back at Meet Magento New York.
Good.
Uh,
We're gonna get her in here too.
hello.
Have you guys met?
I don't think so.
Nope. I watched your presentation before. Really good.
Just come a little bit,
Okay.
just a little bit. Come in the middle.
Middle. I think in middle.
Middle?
Middle is fine.
Right, middle.
Yep.
There we go. Balance it out. See how we look? Looking good.
Hi.
Hi, introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Antonia Tadic.
I'll hold the mic.
Okay. Okay, boss.
Okay.
So, okay, I work in Chu, e-commerce agency based in Croatia,
Yes.
and I work as a project manager. We've been working with Magento from very, very, very beginning, and I feel we are very well known in these circles.
I think so too. I'm familiar with Inchu.
Yep.
Also familiar.
Yeah.
We're also familiar. And you spoke today.
Yes, I had my speech. I was the first in the morning, so I was very proud of it.
Number one.
Number one, yes.
Yeah.
Opening speech was very nice. Was very nice.
Very good. By the way, have you been working out? I just noticed.
Yeah. A little
Yeah, I could tell. I could tell.
bit. I've lost like 20 something pounds.
Really?
Yeah.
I lost like
I don't
18.
drink anymore. So.
Okay.
All these Magento people working out and losing the weight. That's a trending now.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
Trying. Did you finish introducing yourself? I think you did.
A little bit, but you did the introduction for me.
Okay.
so
Okay. Are you guys speaking at the event here?
Yes, at 1 o'clock. So.
Microphone.
At 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay.
Yeah. So it's gonna be fun, and it's about work-life balance and.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and making how to make remote teams work. You know, like and how to attract talent and how to retain people. So,
That's a very interesting topic.
Are
Yeah.
you speaking alone or with
no, it's with Tian Lan.
Etienne and the Carmen?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm definitely heading to see this one.
Yeah.
But you
it's,
have only 20 minutes and 3 people on the stage.
Yeah, and it's going to be like
Tough.
short.
No questions allowed.
Yeah, but it's fun and it's like something that many companies do anymore, like or that it relates to many people how to find, like a work-life balance. You
Yeah.
know, like for people that are successful that love what they do, that's kind of hard to draw the line.
Yeah.
If you want an 8 to 4 job, you go work for McDonald's or for a bank or something, like if you want
Right.
to be successful, you have to work your butt off,
Right.
and you have to love what you do.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's get down to nitty gritty.
Okay.
How many hours a week do you work and then you work? Let's talk about it. The way your agencies approach work-life balance.
So, if you want to work, you cannot work 8 hours a week. So you can have a time when you work 8 hours a week, but as a project manager, you need to be available. So I would say 10, 10-ish, but sometimes
Day, right?
yeah, a day. And if it's a project that needs to be done, it's all day long.
All day long.
It is like this, and it's okay.
Okay. What about you? How many hours?
I would say the same, 10, 12, 14. Sometimes I'll work 3-4 hours. It depends, like I don't keep track of time. I love what I do, and everyone that I work with has my cell phone, text me, call me anytime, I'm there to help.
All the time.
Yeah.
So what are you talking about work-life balance? What's
What's then work?
you're on the other side of it.
So
No
it's-
balance.
So it's tough. If you want to be successful, you have to sacrifice.
Okay.
You have to, if you are passionate about what you do, it's really hard to draw the line, and it can affect your personal life,
Yeah.
because you neglect unintentionally, your family, your loved ones, your friends, yourself.
Uh-huh.
So
You should always put some limits as well.
yes, yeah, but
You
it's-
need to put.
yeah,
Because you will be, as Sherry said, in burnout, and and you don't want that.
No,
so
no.
there is a time when you need to work longer, and you need to accept it,
Yeah.
embrace it, do it. But also when you said, okay, I'm now going to vacation, and no one can see
Yes.
me, can call me, and I need to rest. Because
Yeah.
if you don't rest, you will not be productive at
yeah,
all.
yeah, I agree 100%.
Okay. So you're kind of on the opposite side of the debate. Tien Lan is going to say work 8 hours max.
I don't know.
We'll
yeah,
see.
But I just want to share, with a lot of people that's common, and especially in the United States, where we have the wildest form of capitalism. Nobody cares. People expect from you to be there to respond. Nobody, in Europe, people have more respect of personal space, of vacations or holidays.
Yeah.
Here, you have this survival of the fittest.
How many vacation days do you guys have?
It depends. But let's say 20, 21 to 25. Depends also how much you are in the company. If you have more years in the company, you get something more. But I would say 21 to 25.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, because
I could have more. But it's okay. It's okay.
yeah. Well, here
You-
in the U.S., people get 2 weeks
2 weeks only.
in general.
Yeah.
So it's
And
like-
one of them is paid, one of them is unpaid for new employees. It's hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wild, wild west.
Yeah. Not saying that this is the right way or the wrong way. Or
Yes.
it's the same. It's just different cultures, different way of
So
looking at
how
things.
many of free days you have?
That's a good question. I haven't taken a lot of full days, but something like this, I'm here. I'm not really working that much. I haven't taken a full day off in a little while. It's been a while.
You see?
But sometimes I take partial days.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, let's see.
So now in the company we will need to lower up the vacation days.
Yes.
Actually, for us, we have an office in Albania. We have a team in the UK and a team here in the US. So how we do it is based on, and we have an employee in Croatia actually, and a full-time, and based on where someone is located, we give them vacation and holidays, of where they are located.
I know. Okay.
So people in the UK, they get 28 days, with bank holidays included,
We're
So-
going to have, please, come join us. We're going to have Tien Lan join us here. We were talking about you. By the way, introduce yourself.
So I'm Tien Lan Weber. I'm a CMO at One Step Checkout, based out of Norway.
I don't know when TJ is coming back, by the way. TJ has left us. TJ has left. He's never coming back. We were talking about work-life balance because you're going to have a panel on that. And Gentian said people need to work 14 hours all the time. Got to work hard, right? That was his thing. So we're curious what your thoughts are. Work-life balance.
So yeah, it's a very sensitive topic, and I guess that's why I'm talking about it today at 1. So I guess I won't review too much of the...
Nobody's coming though. Nobody there is going to come.
They will see the video, but I guess it's all about, there's... So my title is What's Wrong, What's Right, and it's very different for everyone. So what I'm trying to do here is to show some examples of companies who succeeded in providing flexibility to their employees, and they also see lots of benefits for themselves. So it's a win-win. So the more we can do that, the better it is for the whole society and the way we work. And so in the panel, we'll have some practical examples as well of how we can try and juggle between delivering outstanding service to our merchants and clients, but also preserve some flexibility and work-life balance. So we are, happy overall.
Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Well, you're not going to get any more than that here. You're going to have to go to the talk to hear it all. Okay. What else? What else do we have to talk about? How's everything going at One Step Checkout?
It's going well with the Magento 2 extension really picking up. We released our 29th version in the
29th.
Yes. So almost every 2 weeks we have a new version. So it's going really, really fast. It's very exciting. We have some good clients. Great, and we really feel how the experience can be better and amazing for users.
Good. Do you guys use One Step Checkout, Gentian?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. A lot of bugs? No. No bugs.
No, way better than other checkouts. Yeah.
We were just talking to Nacho with Interactive 4, and he said the most difficult thing about migrating M1 to M2 was checkout. Customizations made in M1 to port them over to M2, checkout was very difficult. What are you guys hearing about that?
It's true. So checkout is really the most complicated thing in Magento 2, and that's why it took us a whole year to release our extension. Lots of teething issues, and it's not that easy to customize, but I guess we think we nailed it. So you have to try the experience, like the default experience that we're offering, and maybe you don't need to customize it so much because it's very clean. So the way it works is we look at the key reasons why people abandon checkouts, right? And the number one factor is that they are surprising costs at the end. And why is that? Is in Magento 2, even on the first page, you don't see the final cost. You only see that when you go to the second page. And then you say, oh no, there's more shipping costs and more fees and so on. Whereas with One Step Checkout, straight away, you can see every time you change a parameter, it automatically updates. So there's no surprise, and then you click order and you're done. So that's really the number one factor. And then the other factors are speed. So on one page, it's faster, less clicks than on 2 pages. And the third one is around, how easy it is to complete the form. And again, when you see everything at once above the fold, it's easier for the user to say, okay, I can see roughly 3 columns, blah, 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 order. Whereas when there are other pages, you're like, oh, what is going to be next? And then, I click next, but then I forgot that maybe I want to ship to someone else, so I have to go back. So, yeah.
Got it. And at Inchu, what are you guys seeing with checkout with M2 migration projects? Maybe you can just hand her.
Thank you. So I would say that we do use One Step Checkout, but we use it most on Magento 1 projects. And when it comes to Magento 2, because of the complexity of everything, we at the beginning we stick with the standard Magento 2 checkout. It's not that bad. It's much better than Magento 1. So we try to provide, as you said, more information, because you can put estimate of the shipping on the product page. You can provide this information, customize all the pages, but
I don't want to hold you up.
but not to customize checkout that much, because checkout is very, very sensitive part of the website. So that's why. But we try to stick with not so many customizations on the checkout.
So I've got it now. I've got control over the microphone now. No, it's okay, man. I don't mind losing control. You're doing all the work.
You look like you need a mic.
I got drafted by Marcia. Apparently, there's a speaker gone AWOL they can't find, so she had me looking for the speaker. I don't even know the guy. So I'm like, I don't know where he's at. I'll walk around and see if I can find somebody that looks like a missing speaker. But so I was busy.
It was very nice talking to you. See you later. See you at the party and after party. Clever organizing. So see you there. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you very much. TJ, let's bring this back in. Tianlan also leaving. Thank you. Good to have you.
That's a big ass button you've got there. Yeah, it looks heavy.
It's a big button.
Does it work? Do people actually stop you and ask you about one-step checkout because of the button?
It's a great icebreaker, and for the last 3 years, we've been to Imagine and many events. A lot of people say, oh, it's such a great idea. I should do that. And every time I go to an event, I don't see any other person doing that. So
that's exactly what I was going to say. Is that such a great idea?
It is a great idea. I should do that. I'm not going to, but it's a great idea. So where did you get the big button?
we had it made.
You just like, can I get it on Amazon? Was that merchant using Magento with one-step checkout? Like, are you legally able to buy things if they don't have one-step checkout on their website?
No, of course not.
Okay.
Because the checkout would be way too complicated, and we would drop out for sure.
Lower those conversion rates.
Exactly.
All right, looks like we're still live. It seems as though everything is going smooth technically here, so that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how well this would work. Yeah. I mean, Facebook didn't work, so we're not streaming on Facebook, but we've got YouTube, Twitch, and Periscope going at this point.
Okay.
Seem to be confirmed.
That's pretty cool.
And working. So
that's pretty cool.
We can't see your comments, but comment at us anyway. I'll try to check them with some sort of regularity. The screen is way over there, so even when I had them up, we couldn't read them. So let us know that you're out there. Let us know that you're watching. If there's someone in particular you want us to talk to, there's a lot of people here. Just about everybody from the Magento community is here. At least a good number of people that go to these events are here. So if you got somebody in particular, let me know. I'll track them down. I'll drag them in here and force them to have a conversation with them.
Yeah, kind of like we did with Tianlan.
Yeah.
On the spot.
You make the mistake of walking by and you just get drug in.
No filter.
Well, we don't want to keep you too much longer, but thank you so much for coming by. We will see you around. See ya.
Kaylin's good with the, we don't want to keep you. Kaylin does the whole, we don't want to keep you.
We don't want to keep you because if you keep them there and they don't have a mic, they feel like they're just, I feel like we're not centered.
We are definitely not centered. No,
center it up a little bit here.
Now, the thing is we're going to go till probably the top of the hour here and then cut it off. And I've got to go try to memorize my speech that I've still not memorized that I have to give at 2:30 this afternoon. And so I may not get the high remarks that I got last year because I may just have to riff it. I did cheat this year, and I got note cards. I feel like note cards are cheating. Like if I have to have note cards to remember a story, I feel like it's cheating.
Yeah. No, I do remember last year a couple people said that they liked your talk. Was it on B2B?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. I remember Paul Rogers. We're going to bring Paul in here right now.
The famous Paul Rogers.
Good to see
TJ.
Can we bring you in? Can we loop you in?
You want to live stream? We're live right now.
We're live.
You're right outside the frame. We are live. You got to get in the camera here.
You got to get over here. You got to get comfortable. You got to get comfortable.
There you go.
Paul Rogers, e-commerce consultant extraordinaire to the stars.
Yeah,
how's it going?
We're live currently.
We're live.
Yeah, very good. Thanks. How are you?
Doing good. We've just been going for, how long have we been going for?
40 minutes or so, I think. We're going to go for another 20.
Going strong.
Yeah, and then we're going to
Paul, introduce yourself to the people.
I'm an e-commerce consultant. I'm talking here on behalf of Klavu as well, who are a client of mine. Work a lot with Magento and a few other platforms. A lot of platform selection, consultancy, that kind of stuff.
Klavu, obviously a search plugin, and you're going to be talking about e-commerce search. Give a couple of tidbits on what people can do better with search.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of it's around merchandising and the kind of underlying business logic, and using product data in the right way and using other data points as well. And then there's bits around kind of user experience and usability, and then a few bits around machine learning and natural language processing and how that kind of adds value.
What like let's say for the average merchant that you talk to, what are some of the main things they're doing wrong, missing out with search?
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess it depends what solution they're using. But with Magento, so in my talk, I've got some examples of retailers who have no kind of underlying context behind the catalog. So one example is Amiga. So if you search for like leather strap on their site,
this is a merchant, an example of a merchant.
Exactly. Yeah. So the watch company, they've got like 1,000 leather strap watches, but if you search for leather strap, you get a single result, which is an accessory. Because they're not kind of optimizing their data and they're solely relying on matching the product title and then in some places the long description. But yeah, so looking at that and trying to like pull in more context, maybe looking at third party, just to kind of solve that and utilize more data.
Because somebody's searching leather strap, they want to see watches that have a leather strap. They don't want to see the one accessory. Yeah.
Trying to like if you have got a decent search capability, trying to encourage people to use different characteristics and attributes within the query. Yeah.
And how's it going with SIs and solution partners selling Clevu or other search options into their merchants? How do those conversations go? What are some of the issues that come up for, let's say, an SI that's trying to help their merchant out around search?
Yep. So a lot of the Clevu sales come from like a discovery. So as part of a replatforming or a migration to Magento 2, they'll look to address kind of areas of user experience, and maybe they'll be looking to make search more prominent and more important across the site with a view to driving improvements in conversion rate. So generally search would, a user that completes a search would convert a lot higher than someone that doesn't. And then they would be looking at third parties as part of that conversation, and then Clevu have a lot of partners, particularly in the UK, and then they would bring Clevu into that conversation, and that would start the sales process. Yep.
Very good. Very good. TJ, any questions for Paul while we have him?
See, the problem is I'm sitting here thinking about technical challenges while you're paying attention to the conversation.
No, let's jump in.
So,
Paul can answer you at all levels.
We go all the technical. I'm talking about
deep.
technical live streaming questions here.
Streaming questions.
Like I'm paying attention to this and the framing and the fact that you keep walking this way every time I move the camera.
I'm trying to stay centered.
Everybody,
I'm trying hard.
The center is pretty much on
hard
that
to
X
stay
right
centered.
There. So the fact that we have 3 and then you're on the X, I'm way over here. But it's so now. You're Paul Rogers, paulrogers.com, right?
Correct.
Okay, paulinrogers.com.
I have to ask now what paulrogers.com is.
So paulrogers.com is not being used at the moment, I don't think, but they want like 20 grand for it.
Domain squatters. Dirty domain squatters.
Sons of guns.
The singer, unfortunately.
I'm sure they're watching and listen. That's not okay. It's not right. paulinrogers.com.
Yeah, that's where to go. paulinrogers.com. So are you working for Clevu or?
No, so Clevu. So we've got a really small like consultancy. There's 6 of us. Clevu are one of our clients, and I've been working with them for about 4 years. I met them here I met Nile, the CEO, here about 4 years ago at Meet Magento New York.
Yeah. So Paul works for no man. Paul is independent. Man of many hats. Also puts out some really good long-form content on a lot of topics on platform selection, like you mentioned. So, for example, if I made the mistake of asking you who M2 is wrong or right for, you'd have a very comprehensive answer to that, which Magento might not like.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it varies, like you say, from retailer to retailer. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I like how he didn't give me the answer.
Yeah, give us the answer. We're live streaming here. We need content gold here.
I imagine I have the same answer that you two both have as well, which is like if a retailer has some like level of complexity behind their catalog, or they are doing kind of complex multi-store or internationalization, then Magento is the obvious fit. I think Magento is still like a great platform, my favorite platform on the market, like super extensible, but comes at a cost. People just need to understand that cost. I think a lot of people don't understand that cost, so in my opinion it costs like, I don't know, $3,000 minimum a month to keep a Magento site online, and if people aren't willing to spend that and then allocate budget to upgrades and kind of improving the store, then they're better off going with a different platform like Shopify or whatever else. So that's kind of my view. And if it's a simple retailer and depending on objectives, they might get more out of Shopify than they would out of Magento. So.
One of the things I'm curious, because there were some big commerce people that crashed the party recently at Mage Titans Austin, and I'm trying to understand what's the difference between Shopify and big commerce Feel free to mute my mic at any time if I say anything.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
I think it's a really interesting little thing. So BigCommerce come into Europe recently. They're starting to become really prominent in like the London e-com scene. Looks like a really good platform. There's like nuances in how they're positioning themselves and like where they're trying to develop the platform. So they're obviously going after headless. They're trying to open up certain parts of the platform. They're trying to go to a certain type of technology partner, whereas I think Plus are trying to go mass market for B2C. They've got a really good ecosystem. I think that's one of the differentiators between the platforms at the minute.
So BigCommerce has you think a stronger ecosystem than Shopify?
I think currently Shopify has a stronger ecosystem, and they also have a lot of merchants that are like over the $100 million.
Shopify Plus.
Whereas BigCommerce, it seems like they're trying to push it as more of like an extensible platform, or more of an extensible SaaS platform, so kind of sitting in between Shopify and Salesforce. But yeah, currently I think Shopify has the ecosystem, which is where they kind of just, nip it a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
BigCommerce seems to be trying to position itself to that alternative to Magento. If your flexibility needs are not quite, if you don't need really something substantially flexible, they're trying to be the alternative to that. And so they've got a huge API coverage. They're releasing an integration with WordPress to kind of go after WooCommerce a little bit. But it's not, the exciting part is not the integration with WordPress. The exciting part is what they're doing with headless commerce. And they're working on rolling out GraphQL into their platform as well for all their APIs. And so if you're doing progressive web apps, well, BigCommerce is going to be a player a lot sooner than Shopify is for those types of things.
Absolutely. I think conventional B2C is Shopify's kind of market of like almost any level, or they're trying to get to that, like forgetting complexity. Whereas, like you say, BigCommerce want to like innovate a bit more. And I know they're looking at like an Acquia integration as well, and headless is definitely, it seems like that's where they want to go. And also they've opened up their checkout and things like that. So yeah, I think it's almost they're trying to like build a new market, which is probably more of like the innovation-led B2C market.
What do you think about PWA? How, like, I don't know. Give me maybe an archetype of a type of a merchant, maybe a certain level of complexity, certain revenue level, certain vertical, and Philip Jackson. And because I was talking to somebody at Titans, and they said, I have customers that say, "Oh, we want to go PWA. It's the new thing. It's faster." Da, 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 da. What do you think is the real value prop? What type of a merchant does it make sense for? And who does it not make sense for where we currently stand right now? Because I'm sure it's eventually going to get there. It's a better technology by definition. Yeah. But like, who does it make sense for now, and what level of investment does it make sense for?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think it depends on, a lot of it depends on the merchant and like where they are. So like, I've had a few retailers that are kind of looking at re-platforming and seeing that as a bit of a transformation project, and then they're trying to kind of build a modern technology stack, and as part of that they've looked at PWA. And I think those retailers are generally higher volume sites that want the fastest possible experience more than anything else at this point. So I don't think there's loads of demand around the other components like offline mode and
the speed is the main thing.
Yeah, well that's kind of what I've seen so far, but that said, like, I'm not an expert on PWA. I've just kind of looked at it when a merchant said, we want this to be an all-encompassing project to bring us to the height of kind of modern e-commerce.
Right. And what type is that? Is that $100 million merchant? Is that a 10? If I'm a $3 million merchant, like, who does that make sense for right now? At the end of the day, it's a question of how modern they want their tech stack to be. But like, who does that make sense for right now?
So, of the ones that I've spoke to, one was like $100 million retailer in the US, and one was the main two that actually were seriously looking at it. One was like $10 million retailer in the UK. But I think it's more of like, it seems like it's more of a mindset than anything else at the moment, because I don't think many people fully understand like the operational impact of it from a like ongoing development perspective, and what the kind of real cost is of developing a PWA theme. So currently I'm still trying to get my head around like when it becomes worth the investment in,
when it kind of tips.
Yeah, when considering like a broader investment. Yeah.
When the tooling's there, when the themes are there,
Exactly,
when a small merchant can piggyback off of the pioneers, But for right now, you've got to be fairly substantial to take the risk to absorb the costs.
Absolutely.
Because it may be a bit of a bumpy road,
Yeah,
and you need to be able to overcome it.
Definitely, and I think the investment's really high at the moment. So the retailers that I have had that have looked at it are looking at like hundreds of thousands to achieve like a proper PWA theme that like is built in to a certain level of quality, and it's just whether that they'll get a return on that as opposed to waiting for it to become a bit more mainstream, as TJ says.
So let's say I want to go. I'm looking at BigCommerce, and let's say I'm on M1. Yeah. I'm looking at M2 versus BigCommerce. What's the how do you help merchants make that decision?
So I do a lot of like discovery work. So a lot of it will be around like different levels of requirements. So some of it, like one of the considerations of BigCommerce, particularly in the UK, is like what they want out of an SI and whether or not the SI partners have the level of experience and the types of capabilities they want as an e-com partner as well. But then it just comes down to kind of functionality requirements, say functional requirements, kind of the internal teams they have and the skill sets they have around managing a Magento implementation and managing a Magento partner. And obviously there's a certain level of overhead with Magento and there's a certain level of complexity for managing the different areas to keep it online. And it's whether or not they want that. It's kind of the complexity they want to achieve over the next 3 to 5 years as well. You know, BigCommerce is still like a way behind Magento when it comes to internationalization and multi-store architecture and kind of even the product attribution and stuff like that. So it's generally like looking at complexities and how much customization they're comfortable with and things like that. But it tends to be a bit of a combination of different things around functional requirements, internal team capabilities and kind of the resource they have, and then what they want out of an agency and how they want to work with an agency. I'd say, and cost obviously is the other one.
And how are the costs going to be? I mean, like rough ballpark.
So I think there's different. Magento's definitely moved up the food chain over the last couple of years. I think with a Magento site, you need to expect to have a certain level of support retainer. The costs around implementing new features are generally going to be higher. Kind of keeping like BAU development, continuous improvement, there's a cost around it. But I do think Magento has like a real benefit in terms of like scalability, and like you could very easily get to a point with BigCommerce or Shopify where you want to achieve something. So be it like really complex subscriptions or really complex multi-brand, international, that kind of stuff, where you would literally not be able to achieve it. I guess it just comes down to those requirements really. And it's just trying to extract as much information around that as possible.
With the Adobe acquisition of Magento, where do you see it going?
Up the food chain, like massively, to be honest. Like I've already seen a lot more interest from massive brands. And when I've had customers that have come and been looking at Magento, SAP, potentially IBM, definitely Salesforce, Magento is really being considered. And in terms of the cost, even right now, they're comparative in places. For like the right type of retailer, they're definitely comparative. And I think Magento is going to become like the Shopify Plus of that level, to be perfectly honest. Like more agile, more of an ecosystem, which like reduces that whole cost of introducing new features and time to market for new features. So I think it'll just become a leader in a slightly bigger bracket of B2B and B2C.
How do you see it affecting the partner ecosystem?
Depends.
Do you see it putting pressure?
I think it's almost like it depends on what level of partner you are, because for certain levels of partners where they're dealing with the mid-market and enterprise customers, I think it'll be great. Like there's definitely a level of demand around Magento at the moment, probably at least in part due to the Adobe acquisition. But if you're working with smaller businesses, I think you've almost seen it already, where certain partners have started focusing on Shopify Plus a lot more because their market is the up to $5 million bracket, and then that's becoming slightly less relevant to Magento.
No, that's interesting. I've heard some people say that it's going to put a lot of pressure. A lot of these bigger, like you're saying, there's these new bigger brands that are coming into Magento. There's a certain level of partner that's familiar with that type of a brand, and so it might put some pressure on
expectations around the SI as well. So this is what I was a little bit with the BigCommerce thing, is like if they expect a certain level of like BA resource and like a certain level of discovery and kind of the way that a project's managed and delivered, and kind of a certain level of resource post-launch with like massive retainers, basically, definitely lends itself to these bigger partners. And I think looking at Magento Live Europe, there's a lot more of those bigger, like PwC, Accenture, some of the other big SIs around Demandware, and SAP were there. And we're already starting to look at Magento as like a really enterprise solution. And that'll be an interesting one. I don't really know how it's going to go, but yeah, I think that'll be an interesting one. Either the partners have got the opportunity to step up and start working with bigger retailers, or yeah, I guess there's that threat of bigger partners coming to the plate a little bit.
Let's bring you in, buddy. Let's bring you in. Slide in, Paul.
Hello.
Thank you, sir.
Hi.
You bring me a hat, man?
I'm going to send you a hat. I don't have any prints.
Jesus. What in the world?
Here with Meir Bianchi.
Yeah, Meir Bianchi from Be
Son of a gun.
Messed it up.
Nice to see you guys.
Introduce yourself.
Hey,
Hello,
by the way,
Meir Bianchi from Be
Easy.
Sorry, we're based in Brooklyn, New York. So
by the way,
this is a
Kaylin,
local conference, but I was late.
I reframed the camera, and you cannot cross the line.
Don't cross the line.
I laughed because I reframed it, and I come over here, and you had already crossed
I'm
the
a
line.
perpetual
and I'm like,
line stepper.
yeah. He does this while he's interviewing people.
Oh, he gets all up in there. Yeah, but
I like to.
he's a good news reporter. Like, hey, what do you think? Mr.
Yeah, but the
You know?
camera's over there, so doing this, not so good.
I get right in there. Hey,
I'm telling you, you probably should just quit with the whole web development and just turn it into a brand.
Make merch.
Just
It's
make
covered.
merch.
It's covered. No, but yeah, no. I want to send gift packs. That's the new move. It's like send TJ like
100%.
Where'd you
a
get
whole
that
box.
bag from?
The same dropship fulfiller.
Why don't you send
It's
me?
called-
Forget send me a hat. Send
Send
me
you
the
a bag?
dropship for filler.
All right,
I'll make
send
my
it to
own.
you. I got you. The Jamerson merchandise is coming soon.
Okay. We'll do some e-commerce-aholic merch.
Yeah, let's do it. So tell me, guys, like, what are you looking forward today? What am I looking forward today? I missed Antonia's talk. That looked really interesting.
Yeah, you didn't want to miss that. You didn't want to miss that. We had her on. We talked a little bit with her, and it was a good time. It was my first time meeting her, so that was cool. Yeah, so that was fun. But
I miss all the talks. That's kind of the problem. Is
Yeah.
you come here and you take a little time to set up and you get this going.
Yeah.
And then I've got to go study my own talk because I haven't had time to memorize it yet.
And what time do you go?
2:30.
Nice.
So we're gonna wrap up here shortly and give me time to go work on my talk, and then we'll be back probably about 4 o'clock Eastern time. We'll be back online. So look for that. But
I'm gonna come back.
yeah, I mean, you can we can hang out for a little bit.
The lightning round.
100%, 100%. Lightning round. We haven't even developed a lightning round. Lightning round.
Send this stream to my team. Like, how do I send it?
It's on
Question number one.
youtube.com/e-commerceaholic.
Lightning round. Question number 1. E-commerce search vendor of choice.
Clayvu.
Question number 2. E-commerce merchant of the year B2C category.
E-commerce merchant of the year in Magento.
Correct.
I'm just gonna go and say custom plugs. Shout out to Lewis at Pinpoint. Just 'cause that's the only one that came to mind.
Shout out to Custom Plugs because it's the only one that came to mind. That's not
He's
a.
won an award for it already. So
Okay.
You
Okay.
know. I think if you keep asking him questions, he's just going to name his own customers or the people with booths here.
No,
I just crossed the line. I just crossed the line.
No,
Clayvu's pretty.
Question number 3 in the lightning round is which talk today are you most excited about?
Antonia's.
But you already missed it.
But you missed it.
Fabia's,
Not that excited about it.
Dree.
No, you need one. This is the way. You wanted the flash round. You got
Yeah.
the flash round.
I'm most excited about the one that I missed. But on a secondary one, I'm excited to see.
There's no such thing as. Next question. TJ, you got to get in here pretty soon.
Hosting provider.
Mage Mojo every day, all day, and then AWS second place if you got to go roll your own.
He's a perpetual secondary, and he's Snapchatting right now
Of course,
as
we are.
speak.
We are live streaming from the Mage Mojo booth here at Meet
And he's-
Magento.
and he's-
Like it's easy to see. It's easy to see the branding and think of, if you're going to think of one hosting provider, we're in the Mage Mojo booth, so that stands out. So payments. What's your payment? If you've got right now, you're only taking credit cards, and you need to add one provider to test with to see if it gets you more conversions, PayPal or Amazon Pay.
And it's credit card. Oh, you mean
you're only taking credit cards.
I'm gonna go with PayPal.
You're gonna go PayPal first. You're gonna test
Yes.
that one first. You think that's gonna get you the biggest bang for the buck?
More tried and true, more user adoption, been around longer. People recognize it. It's a household name. But then, yeah, Amazon Pay is a good second one to add right after for sure.
Okay. Question number 6. Give me one conversion optimization experiment, I was stepping on the line, that a merchant can run to maximize their conversion rate.
Okay, so this is going to be stolen off the recent presses. But for example, PayPal has put out studies about mobile saying that if you have a lock icon next to your proceed to checkout button, for example, it might lift your conversions by 15%, above your current level.
Lock icon.
So a lock icon could be a very simple thing that you could add and remove with a simple content experiment and probably see some results right away.
Okay.
There you go. Simple.
Okay.
All you got to do is put the right icon.
Okay.
There's some crazy. I love these studies. I've got numbers for my talk, and it's amazing some of the metrics people come up with. And there's no way if you pile all of this crap onto your website, you're going to get all of those metrics.
It has to be what works for you.
Yeah.
Your
right.
specific use case and your site.
Right.
It's about keeping it